Says I'm live. Let me wait for confirmation from YouTube. Let's make sure we are live. No confirmation yet. Just waiting on my iPad. There we go. I am live. My iPad. There we go. Okay. I am live. Let's stop that. We're all set. I see some questions already appearing here. I wanted to do sort of just give an overview of where we are with the applied level and the changes that are coming and why these changes are coming. And apparently I can share my screen. So this will be the first time that I actually share my screen. I was going to do a video on this and I thought, why don't I just do it live? What happened to all your live streams from Costa Rica? Well, I'm not in Costa Rica right now. I'm in Canada. That's the Canadian view behind me. I was in Costa Rica August, September, but it's the rainy season. So there are no sunsets. There's cloud cover and rain for the most part. So there wasn't really much to show. But I am there the last 2 weeks of November. So I will do some live sunset streams and maybe some market overviews at the same time. Is this recorded? YouTube does record this automatically, yes. I see some market questions. We'll leave the market questions to the very end. Give me 20 minutes here to describe the changes for the applied level. As you know, I've had the applied level for a number of years, and it really aligns with what CFA tries to get done, which is analysis and asset management. I am not a big fan of the term asset management. I'll explain that a little later. So the applied level was meant to be that after you, as you're going through the three levels, sometimes you can learn it better if you can see how it actually applies in the real world. So there's an analysis side and there is a asset management side. Let me see if I can find the, let's see, so share screen. And I can share certain parts of my screen. So let me see if I can, oh, I see. You can only share certain screens at a time. Oh, no, you can share a window. Let's see which window I will share. Well, if I share that window, okay, I'm learning as I'm doing this. If I share that window, there'll be this repetitive view of me. So I'm going to go ahead and change the tab first. Give me a second. Let's put it here first. Let's go. Oh, I can't. I can't because I have to go back to the screen to do this. Okay, what I'll do is I'll share a tab. How's that sound? And I'll just keep changing the tab. Let's find our first tab. It would be right with AI for finance. I don't see the point of continuing on with financial modeling. I have a posting up here. I don't know. I'm sure you've all seen it by now. OpenAI is hiring 100 ex-bankers to automate Wall Street's grunt work, which is financial modeling, which several months back, I said that within a couple of years, you're not going to be doing any financial modeling any longer. You'll only be doing the analysis part of it, which is the CFA part of it. You will say, here's how I want revenues to be modeled in North America. Here's how I want it to be modeled in Europe, in Asia Pacific. Here's the relationship of cost of goods sold with revenues. Here's the balance sheet accounts and the relationship with the income statement. Here's my estimates for, and then you put all of your estimates in, and you'll have a bunch of, I believe, a bunch of templates to choose from. Is this for banking? Is this for mining? Is this for oil and gas? Is this for digital advertising? And then you build your model. The actual use of Excel will disappear. The skill for financial modeling will stay because you have to figure out, how do I model every line item? That will stay, but I think the the skill of using Excel will leave. So financial modeling will just be made free. Used a Costco model or use the company Costco to get it done. And I think somebody had a comment in the comment section about that. Just completed the Costco model, really good stuff. The February CR seminar is just focused on PM. I'll get to what's going on in February. But yeah, that'll be made free because I think that AI is simply just going to eat that. The AI for finance, I'm finding that as time goes on, when I first, 5-6 months ago, you really had to work on your prompt and build your prompt out. Now I'm finding with the each iteration of the model, your prompt doesn't have to be as detailed. You can actually start paring down your prompt, and it ends up being almost your best friend. Much like a dog ends up being your best friend because it molds itself to you. So there are many things in my prompt I no longer have to put because the model says, I've gotten to know you now. I know what you ask for. I know what you like, and I'm going to continue to answer along those lines. So it's already disfigured out the type of output that I do. And even if I don't ask for a certain type of output, it will always give me my answer in terms of what it means for financial markets, which I kind of like. Sometimes I ask it a question and I'll get that and I'll go, oh, I didn't ask for this, but I get it. You think that this is what I want to see, and you're right. So we'll spin those out. Sector studies will be expanded, but you're going to see a lot less video. Video is linear. And I've been doing the videos now for the energy sector to get ready for the energy designation, which will be launched in 2026. I have PDFs up and I'll have videos up for each of the sections. A lot of these are narrative, meaning there's nothing to figure out. They're just words that you have to read and stuff that you need to know. That doing a review video highlighting the important points seems to me a lot better than doing this big, long 3-hour linear video. And I do think that linear learning its time is limited. I think mosaic learning or spiderweb learning, by spiderweb, it means that you'll sit at the center of wherever you happen to be, and you'll branch out in whatever direction you want to go, and you'll build your own web of knowledge from that. And all you need is an AI tutor to get that done. And you simply just prompt it as you're reading, what is this? What is that? If you're using AI Studio, this is fantastic. Use AI Studio. You can click on streaming. And as you're reading the document, you could say, where my mouse is, what does this sentence mean? And it'll describe it to you so that you have your own tutor right there at that time. So I'm not sure that linear video makes a lot of sense. I know that I've lost patience with a lot of linear video on YouTube. I'll see something interesting about the wheat market. It's 25 minutes long, and I'll click on it, and it's like, okay, come on. I'm really listening to see if there's anything interesting to hear. So I'm going to downplay video going forward and use a lot more text. Which you can use AI Studio in streaming mode, and it will read it with you. In fact, you can get AI streaming mode to summarize everything that's on the page, and it will talk to you, much like I'm talking to you now. If you've been through the AI for Finance module, you will see that where I have used AI Studio with a 10K, as I'm reading the 10K, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does that mean? And it explains what it means. So I think that's the better way to go. And then we have infographics, which I think a lot of people are underestimating how powerful infographics really is. So I'm going to change my screen share here. And let's see if I can share another tab with you. We'll go to we'll stay with sections. Let me just show you something first. Let's go to we'll just click on infographics, and we'll go to let's say the information technology here. And that way you'll get 10 big points that you need to know about this sector. This is at the sector level. All of these are prompts. Every single one of these are prompts, and I'm going to show you how to use them. So let's click on an industry group. We have semiconductors and semiconductor equipment. We see here industry is notoriously cyclical, driven by supply-demand imbalances. Keep that in mind. And everything written in here is a prompt. Everything in this little box is a prompt. So you have 20 points at the industry level. Then we're going to select a sub-industry, and our sub-industry here is going to be semiconductors. And it'll give you 30 things you need to know about the semiconductor industry, and these are all prompts. Look at point number 3, disaggregated value chain. The industry is segmented into distinct business models. So maybe we read that and say, well, tell me more about this. What does this mean? And then finally, from the sub-industry, we can scroll down and then we can choose a company. So there's AMD. And notice point 6 here, gaming is a high-profile, lumpy business, and it talks about its gaming segment. So we have 10 points at the sector level, 20 at the industry level, 30 at the sub-industry level, and 40 at the company level. That gives you 100 points, 100 prompts. And if you read through this, you will get to know any company very fast. You'll know the company, you'll know the sub-industry that it operates in, you'll know the industry that that sub-industry is in, and the broad sector that's in. And out of those 100, let's say there's 5 or 6 points where you read and you say, well, I don't really get that. Let me show you what you can do with that and how these prompts work. So I'm going to just share a different one now. Let's go to OpenAI. And we can close that. Now, notice what I'm doing here. I say, with respect to the industry group, semiconductors and semiconductor equipment, tell me more about, and there's your whole prompt. That's word for word what was written on the screen. There's your prompt. The industry is notoriously cyclical. And here is more about it. Demand shocks meet long, lumpy supply, the bullwhip and double ordering. Sub-segment cyclicality differs, and here they'll talk about cyclicality in memory, in logic and foundry, analog, power, mixed signal devices, semiconductor equipment, pricing, utilization, and inventory mechanics, technology, product cycles, and there you go. You have like 10 points that it'll tell you about this one thing, so that if this is the thing you didn't understand, there you go. Then you move on to the sub-industry and you say, well, this disaggregated value chain, tell me more about that. And here it is, the core split, why it happened. Here's IDMs. Here are your fabless design firms. There's ADM and NVIDIA there. Here's foundries. This is outsourced assembly and testing along with packaging, electronic design, IP licensors, how money moves. And there you go. You got a whole section that expands on this prompt. And then when you get to NVIDIA, you might say, what about this gaming thing? I don't understand that. And you say, tell me more about this. And you put in the prompt, and there you go. So what you can do, let me go back here, and I'll end this. What you can do with these prompts is you can build the research report that you want. Why should I write out a 40-page report on semiconductor sub-industry when, as you're reading it, you're going, I know this. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, I know this. It's a huge waste of time reading 40 pages to find the 10 or 15 points that you want to know. Instead, I'll take those 40 pages and I'll shrink it down to 40 prompts. And then you take the prompt you want and you go to OpenAI, you go to Gemini, you go to Claude, whatever model that you prefer. And you say, with respect to this sub-industry, tell me more about quote, and you paste the prompt in there. You get to write the research report you want, period. I think that has a lot of power as opposed to me putting up these PDFs and you spending, an hour going through it for stuff that you might already know, or hoping to get 2 or 3 interesting little nuggets out of that. This gives you everything that you need all at one time. Let's see if we have any questions on this one so far. Do you have any recommendations on going through the order of the applied level? Not really, no, because it is meant to be more of a mosaic. And what do I mean by that is that I don't know where you are. So I don't want to say start here, because the first few steps you might say, but I know all of this stuff. I want to get to the stuff I want to get to. So this allows you to start anywhere. Maybe you want to start in the materials sector. And then you say, well, with materials, I'm really just interested in mining. So you start with materials and you drill down to the mining sector, and there's a whole bunch of mines there: gold mining, silver mining, precious metals, aluminum. What else is in there? Copper, diversified miners. And you get right down to the miners right where you want to be. And if you're with infographics, you build your own document, or in the sector studies, I have PDFs, and I'll be putting up PDFs for a bunch of the sub industries. Those are fact checked. Now, when you give AI a prompt, it sometimes doesn't know what it's talking about. So you'll get some information back every now and then where you read it and you go, well, I don't know if that's true. The ones that I do are fact checked, and they're really just at the sub industry level. But I will be downplaying video in the future. I don't think that you need video. If you have Google AI Studio, you just click on stream, and you just start reading on the screen, and you say, what does this mean? What does that mean? And you don't have to give the AI anything. It is streaming with you. It will read your screen as you go through it. It's just such a great tool to have. If you have it on your phone, by the way, and if you go to Home Depot and you're looking at 3 or 4 different things that you buy and you can't find an orange apron anywhere, just start streaming and ask it. Just hold up your phone saying, what's the difference between these 3 things? Here's the job that I want to do. Which one of these things should I get? And it'll do it for you. It'll talk to you. It's such a beautiful thing. So that's what's going to happen in applied analysis. It's going to get a lot more focused on really just the analysis part. The financial modeling module will just be made free, along with the AI for finance. That will be made free. I don't know that I would be adding to it at this point, because I do think that AI will completely replace Excel skills. You won't need Excel skills, I think, going forward. You'll need modeling skills, and how do I model a certain revenue for a certain company. And by the way, in all the PDFs in the sector study, if you go to energy, for example, I've got all the sub-industries done for energy. There is one section in all of those about that just are specifically about financial modeling for these types of companies. So upstream, midstream, downstream, drilling companies, oil services companies, green hydrogen companies, liquefied natural gas companies, carbon capture, small nuclear reactor companies. There is a section in there that is just, how would you model revenue? How would you model cost of goods sold? How would you model these things? That's the CFA side of things. That will all still be there, but those documents are fact checked. Let's go into the applied asset management, because here we're going to get a lot more changes. So let me share my screen again. There we are. And we'll go back to the main menu. Did I click it? Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go. And there is our screen. So we have trading manuals at the very bottom. This is something I just started adding to. Pay attention to trading manuals and positions. For the other 3, I'll talk about those in a second. Those will sort of be, I think, slowly disappearing. But let's go into trading manuals, and I'll just show you what's there. Here we are. So I've started with derivative section, and we have 3 categories up: energy, grains, metals. I've done livestock. It just needs to be posted, and I'll probably be doing the cash crops. But if we went into, let's say, grains, it is a It'll walk you through a whole bunch of trades you can do in the grains. It has an introduction. And then there's a whole bunch of examples, worked examples throughout the whole reading. So let's just look at some of the things that we have in here and some of the types of trades. Once we get down to we talk about seasonality in the grains. Let's get to stocks to use, how to use that. Let's get to some of the more interesting stuff here. Corn, old crop versus new crop. It'll tell you the difference between those. What drives demand in each old crop and new crop. Term structure and basis spreads, pre-planting and pollination risk windows, exactly what all that means. So it'll really get you up to speed on understanding corn. And then it sets up some trades, new crop versus old crop, an example of trading the two off against each other. Soybeans and some trades in soybeans. Wheat. This is lots of examples throughout the whole thing. And then there's different trades on volatility. If you want to trade the volatility of the contracts. So this goes on, I think, for some like 90 pages. The longest one was livestock. That one is almost 140 pages. So these are really detailed trade setups. And for these, I needed some expertise for these. So after I did these, I gave it to somebody who works on a derivatives desk. Now, they're not an expert in any one particular field, but they work on a derivatives desk. So they went through it to check the setup and the language and said, yeah, these are common trades that we do. Some of them are a little bit exotic, especially when you get to livestock and you're trading live hogs against a pork product. It can get a little exotic if you're trading the corn against pigs, corn against beef, or I should say corn against cattle. So there's a whole bunch of trade setups that you can do on this one. I'm going to put more in here, and specifically, let's go back to our main screen. For the options, I'm going to migrate much of what's in the content of applied options into the trading manual, because we got a lot here: basic strategies, income strategies, directional. Volatility is probably right now is the best paying strategy out there, because we have got volatility. We've got a shitload of volatility. So all of these will end up having much more detailed instructions, and each one will be a separate manual, trading manual on its own. Let's go back. The big change is in the positions. I'll explain that one here for this one. What I do in this one is every Friday I post my positions and what I'm doing myself, and thinking that I go through and why I'm doing these certain positions. And I update it every week of how this position has changed, how that has changed. It's going to be expanded, and I'm going to be doing a lot more live video as opposed to recorded video. So one of the here's the schedule that I'm thinking of is Sunday night, a Globex Open for about half an hour to 45 minutes, 6:30 every Sunday night, of what we are going to do for setup for the week. And then a half hour stream every morning before the market opens, 8:15 to 8:45, just to run through our screens. What are we seeing? What's important? What should we be paying attention to today? What setups am I going to be looking at today? What trades am I going to be doing? Is this a hands off the keyboard day? Different things like that. So I think it would help to have some kind of debrief in the morning. There are a lot of retail traders out there, and I think that for the most part here, this is a good place to introduce why I don't like the term asset management. at any given point in time, you don't have a portfolio of assets. You have a portfolio of risk. Uh, if you think about it that way, your job is to be a risk manager. And if you think in terms of risk, you'll find that your performance improves very, very quickly. Just simple things like position sizing, the simple rules for position sizing are pretty straightforward, that you can figure it out very quickly on your own. When I first started, there was nobody to talk to. There was nobody to ask any questions to. You had to figure it all out on your own. So this is, I think, a way to bring the retail trader in that allows them to build some structure in what they do. You don't have to be 100% right, but you do have to be 100% systematic. And if you are systematic, you can be 50% right, and every month your portfolio balance should be increasing every single month. So we're going to do more of those things. Let's answer some questions here, because I see that we have a bunch of questions. I recall in the Q&A video you explained the difference in intentions of Republicans versus Dem. Let's save the market questions to the end here. I'm trying to find just questions that refer to what we just see. Screen went black. Screen went black. My screen was black. So this is not working then, right? We can't see. You're not sharing the screen. Okay. Well, then this did not work out very well at all. I'm looking at my screen, and I can see my screen. Now it's working. I can see it's working. It was black before, but I kept flipping back to my screen and I kept seeing it. Oh, well. Okay. Being that there were some issues, I have to abandon everything I just did. That did not work out. Okay. Well, it's good enough. I'll just do a video on this one. I don't think I explained it well enough anyway. So anyways, if you want, let's do some market questions. Do you think another MBS caused financial crisis could happen? Actually, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Do I think another MBS crisis could happen? I did answer this one last night. Somebody asked me on Discord. I did a live on Discord. I did answer this one last night. I don't think so. I'm not 100% sure, but my suspicion is no, that it cannot happen. And the reason is the derivatives market. In 2006, 2007, 2008, you had mortgages, and the idea was originate and sell. So you had these MBSs, these bonds that were sold back by these mortgages. Okay, no big deal, right? There was, I think, in the US, a total maybe $700, $800 billion of these mortgages. They didn't all go bad, but enough of them went bad. No big deal. But then you had CDSs on top of the MBSs, and the CDS market was a multiple the size of the MBS market. And to sell a CDS, you must be an insurance company. You couldn't do it. So you had this big concentration betting on the credit quality of these things, concentrated in a few really big financial institutions, that if credit quality deteriorated, they'd be in trouble. But their thinking was, well, we're an insurance company, so we're going to insure these things all across the country. It would be rare for it all to go down. That's the whole idea behind insurance, is that I'll insure 1 million cars. They're not all going to crash. Someone will crash their car, but they're not all going to crash. So you diversify across policies. That wasn't the end of it. Then you had these MBSs that were sliced and repackaged along with other debt into CDOs. Then you had CDO squareds, which were CDOs of CDOs. Then you had synthetic CDOs on top of that, which really didn't hold anything. They were just synthetic. So you had this mountain of derivatives. Here's the mortgage market, just like this, right? And then this mountain of derivatives on top of it. That's what took everything down, was that mountain of derivatives, because everything was dependent upon the performance of the base, which was the MBS. Private credit is $2 trillion, triple the size of MBS or mortgages. But there isn't a mountain of derivatives on top of it. So no, I think there'll be some losses for certain people in certain places with exposure to certain companies. And of course, there will be fraud. There's always fraud. Though some companies will just be outright fraud. Some will just be bad bets. But 2 trillion won't disappear. The bigger deal is that you don't have all of these derivatives piled on top of that thing. And without that derivatives, I don't think that you're going to get that contagion effect across one institution from the next to the next. Now, if there is a mountain of derivatives on this stuff, I don't know. Maybe it does exist. If there is a mountain of derivatives on top of this stuff, then yeah, the bigger the mountain of derivatives, the more trouble that sector is going to be. Q&A, you explain the difference in intentions of of Republicans versus Democrats. Essentially, how one has poor execution but good intentions. It was thought-provoking. Oh, okay. Yeah, that is really the Democrats. I mean, I think they have good intentions. They just they're just terrible at actually executing because they don't understand unintended consequences. I think Velocity Stream froze, works now. Okay. You can use AI for presentations as well. Entry-level investment banking jobs will be very different going forward. I agree with that. What do you prompt at the sector level versus what you do at the industry group? Well, all of those things I showed you are prompts. They're all prompts. So I'm not sure I follow the question of what do I prompt. I just whatever is on the list. Past CFA level 2, starting as private banking associate. I'm torn between applied analysis, applied asset management. Financial modeling interests me, which fits my role best. Applied analysis, most likely. Thank you for the alpha on FCX. FCX was good. I don't know how their earnings are going to be tomorrow. Keep in mind, you do have that risk event. They have earnings in the morning, but copper held up very well today. Where is copper right now? Let's have a look. Copper is green. Copper is we're over $5 a pound on copper, and gold is going back up again. Gold's a meme stock right now. So I don't know how Freeport is going to guide. Keep in mind their fourth quarter is not going to be. There's not going to be. We're talking about Grasberg is pretty much offline, and that is their big mine. So their fourth quarter is going to be. But I think we already know that. Side question level 2 in 4 weeks. Solve the Q bank to where I'm starting to memorize the questions. Yeah, that doesn't help then. Having a giant flashcard set, feel mentally flat. How would you treat the next 4 weeks? Have you tried? Have you tried? Gemini is pretty good at this. I don't know how well it would do at level 2. It does okay at level 1. But if you ask Gemini, are you familiar with level 2 CFA level 2 equity, for example, it'll get it in the mindset of level 2. Then you could say, quiz me, at the level of recall, quiz me at the level of understanding, quiz me at the level of application, and it will quiz you. Give that a try. That's fun. And you can, it will adapt. You can ask for the interactive quizzes, and it will develop these interactive quizzes that you can click right on the screen, A, B, or C. and it will adapt based on your answering. That if you're getting them all right, it'll start making them harder. That's fun, I think, right? Because you could do that anywhere. So Gemini is good. If you have a subscription, I think you can. The context window is fairly long. If you don't, I think you get cut off after a certain amount of time. But give that a try. Roll your level 2 course, pass the August exam. Just want to express my thanks. Well, we'll tackle level 3 and continue with your course soon. Okay. Have any background on ACCA? No. I'm not an accountant. Got a job at RBC. Excellent. Anything for biotech? Yeah, there's a lot for biotech. Actually, I'm going to share my screen again. You tell me if you can see my screen. I click on share. I'm going to flip on back. Tell me if you can see. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and tell me, just let me know. Can you see the screen, or is it all black? Could not see. Can see it. I can see it. Yes, we can see it. Yes, you can see it. Okay, good. So do we have anything for biotech? Let's go down to infographics. And there we go. We'll go to the healthcare sector. I think they should have by now. There's healthcare and industry group. There is pharmaceuticals, biotech, and life sciences. Do we have, there's biotechnology right there, and things you should know about biotech. And finally, what companies do we have? We have to choose a subsector, and we have Amgen, Gilead, Biogen, Regeneron, and Vertex. So you have these are pharmaceuticals, I think. I don't know why they're in there, but if we click on Gilead Sciences, for instance, here are things that you need to know. A global science-driven biopharmaceutical company. And there we are. I mostly, the companies, I have mostly stuck with S&P 500 companies. If you have smaller companies that you'd like to see something on, just drop me a note. And if I have time on a Saturday or Sunday, I'll see if I can get 2 or 3 of them done. It require hour and a half to 2 hours of my time to get one of these things done. But if you have some interesting companies, I can get that done. But yeah, there's a lot for biotech. Let's stop sharing the screen. Let's go to where I left off. Let's see. Anything for biotech? No. I can see it's working. It's working. It was black when you switch tabs. Okay. Yeah, we got most of it. Well, that's good. I'm still going to have to do a separate video on it. I don't feel the presentation was really that concise. What do you make of the silver and gold sell-off? When you have an asset that goes parabolic like this, and that's what gold did. It went parabolic, and silver went along just because gold was going along, so silver went along. When you have that, that's unsustainable. So it's really just a question of, well, when is it going to break? And it broke, and it went back up, and it broke, and it's going back up again. But $100 down, then $100 up, then $220 down, and right now we're $27, $28 up. This is not an asset any longer. It's a casino table. It's the reason it's this volatile is because it doesn't really belong here yet. It's gone too far, too fast, attracted way too much attention. It's got the momentum crowd. Now it has the volatility of a small cap stock, and that's not gold. So we got a problem there. Did you see agency earnings? I did not see agency, but what I can do is I can flip over and have a look at its reaction here. Agency hardly moved, 10.18. So whatever it was, it hasn't moved it after hours. Do you mean Annaly or agency? Annaly, I know, had earnings after the bell. I didn't see agency on the list. I saw Annaly. So I'm not sure if you meant agency or Annaly. Talk about regional banks, particularly Argentina banks. I don't know anything about Argentina banks. So I don't know. I'd just be making it up. What thoughts do you have on the risk of regional banks and their possibility of being over-levered in debt loans and not being to recover these loans from customers? Well, banks don't make unsecured loans. Most of those loans, especially if they're the smaller companies, if they're in what are called the leveraged loan category or the high yield category, typically most high yield loans are senior secured. Whereas for investment grade, they're usually senior unsecured with what's called general collateral as opposed to specific. So there'll be collateral. The question would be, what is the value of that collateral? And does the collateral actually exist? I think a bank probably does a lot more due diligence than a private credit fund would do because that's the business they're in. Are they going to have bad loans? Yeah, that's the deal with lending money. Is you're not going to have, if you have 100% collection, you're not taking enough risk, right? You can take more risk. You're going to have bad loans. You're going to have, part of the business model of banking is provisioning for loan losses. That's a line item that you see on the income statement. And as a bank analyst, your job is to forecast that line item for provisioning based on their regional exposure, based on the types of businesses they lend to. So if you are looking at a regional bank that operates primarily in places like Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Texas, you know that their energy book is going to be fairly big, meaning that they've lent a lot of money to energy companies. If you're looking in places like Montana, Wyoming, even in Texas, you know that their farming book will probably be fairly big, with Montana, Wyoming being heavily skewed towards cattle, Indiana, Ohio being heavily skewed towards grains. So each regional company will have its own type of exposure depending on what's in its region. That's the point of a regional bank. So if you think that a certain sector is going to do very well, a certain sector is concentrated in this region, the regional banks in that region should do fairly well with their loan book. Whereas if you think, well, I think that manufacturing and companies in that sector are going to do poorly, you kind of want to avoid Michigan, Pennsylvania, upper state New York, places like that, because that is sort of the manufacturing belt. But if you buy the regional bank index, now you're diversified across the entire economy. So it's sort of a better place to be if you're betting on the regionals. If you bet on regionals, you have to find the intersection of the regional bank with the sector. So you got to know where the hell they are and what type of business they tend to have more exposure to, right? Like Silicon Valley Bank had huge exposure to VC money. Not so much cattle ranching, right? So as far as the regionals, they are going to have bad debt, but I don't think they're the problem. Private credit's the problem. I don't think regionals are going to be a problem. But will there be a problem bank here or there? Yeah, that's the nature of banking. Will you keep applied level, buy once, keep forever? Yes. I'm going through level 1 at the moment, plan on buying later. Yes, it will be, you pay once, and that's it. With the live sessions coming up, here's my motivation for doing more live sessions. There's two motivations. Number one is I have to think about where AI is going to be in a year. And it is taking more and more of my cognitive domain away from me. I have a 2-page, almost a 2.5-page prompt that I can give it, and it can write level 1 questions for me again and again and again, 2-3 at a time. It can, if you tell it to give you 50 questions, they're crap, they're garbage. You've got to find 2-3 at a time, but again and again and again and again, and they're about 80% good, meaning 20% of them you got to throw away, and of the 80% you keep, you might have to fix. If you generate 100 questions, 20 are throwaway. Of the 80, you might be fixing 15 or 20 of them. But I can generate now 200 questions in a day. That would take me a week to 2 weeks to do. I can do that in a day. Pretty good setups too. And then you have to have a different prompt depending on what section you're looking at, right? But you can get that done. So in a year, it's only going to be better. It can already do all the Excel work. In a year, it's going to be better. It's not very good at reasoning. It's not very good at metacognitive skills. So that's still something. So being that my world is shrinking, think of, you're on an island and the water level is rising. So you got to keep retreating to higher and higher levels. Well, that's what I'm doing is I'm looking at where the water level is. I'm saying, well, at this rate, where's it going to be in a year? And that's where I got to go. I can't do this stuff and in 6 months, half of it's obsolete, then do some work and then half of it's obsolete. You got to go to where the water level won't rise. It can't do this interaction. It has no authenticity. It has no presence. It has no intuition. It has no passion. It has nothing. It can't replace this. That's the big reason I'm going to go with more lives. Number 2, as far as the retail investor, the retail trader out there is concerned, I know how that feels. I know what it's like to have this hope, this dream that maybe I could do this. Maybe this could be me. You see it on Instagram, you see it on TV, you see, people living these great lives, and you think, is that possible? Can I do that? So you open up these, you see your friends making money. The ones that lose money never tell you they're losing money, though. They only walk around with their chest puffed out when they're making money. So you open an account and you start making money, then you lose some, then you make, then you lose, then you make, then you lose. Maybe you blow up a few times. I know that feeling, that emotional roller coaster that you're on, that crushing feeling going in a Friday where you're down and you've taken big losses and you don't know what to do. I'm going to say to you something I think that any professional trader will find uncontroversial, but any other trader will find very controversial. If you're losing money, you don't know what you're doing. Professionals rarely lose because we know how to work our way out of trouble if we do. Not only that, we never go into a room that only has one exit. We never go into a trade that only has one exit. All of our risk management happens up front. That if you simply had better strategies before you got into a trade, you would find that month after month after month, your account balance goes up. That's the goal, is to have 12 winning months. Now, you're not going to have 20 to 21 winning days every single month, but the goal is every month should be an up month. No matter what's going on in the market, every month should be an up month. All your risk management happens before something hits your portfolio, so that if something goes wrong, you have a set of steps you go through every single time. Something's turning on you, something's turning red. It's okay. I know what my next step is. It's okay. Not a problem. That's not saying that you won't have losses. You will, but there'll be smaller losses, much smaller losses, and you will have gone through all the steps necessary to minimize it, if not turn it around before you say, okay, that's enough of this. You don't have to do this emotional roller coaster of up, down, up, down, up, down. I mean, I can't see any of you, but show of hands, how many people have it blown up at least once? How many people are frustrated with you buy something that's going up and suddenly it just turns and goes down? How many people today chased Beyond Meat and just lost money? Going up, going up. Oh my God, I'm going to get in. And you buy everything. And how many people bought only one stock for their entire, but you had $5,000, you bought $5,000 worth of Beyond Meat. Couple hours later, you got 2,500. How many people did that? Where is it right now? $3, $2? It was $8. Those things, yeah, 289. Don't buy it. It's what I'm going to tell you right now. Don't touch this thing. You have no exit strategy. Don't touch this thing. You should have known not to buy it. Buy the setup. When you looked at the setup of this thing, you should have said, no, there is no exit from this thing. But I guarantee you there's a lot of people around the world tonight, retail traders, that have got half of what they started with for the day, that are facing a very tough night for themselves. And when you lose that much, you know what they're going to do? They're going to bet even bigger on the next one because they got to make it back. They got to make it back. And they're doing it all wrong. So that's why I want to do more of these live events. And I do these things in Costa Rica where you come down and we spend a week and we look at different ways of taking advantage of moves in the market, primarily momentum and volatility. We look at how we can think about volatility as something different than just something that makes us money or loses us money, but that we can actually trade the volatility and we don't care what goes on in the bottom. I'm trading vol on Tesla because it gives me good volatility. I'm trading it from the short side, however, but my delta is very close to zero. So going into earnings tonight was like, I don't really care. Don't really care. What I want is it to move, though. I want it to move because that's where I make the money. I don't care which way it moves. I just want it to move. So we do trade setups like that for the week. But I think that if I had somebody for 6 months, not just a week, give me yourself for 6 months. You will see the beauty and elegance of this game that we play. You will understand how we play this game. And it is a serious business. It's a casino if you want it to be a casino. It will treat you like you're a player at a table. Gold right now is the card table in the casino. Beyond Meat was the card table in the casino. The house always wins in cases like that. But if you stop treating it like a casino and start treating it like a serious business, the market is a giant money-making machine. It's a money-printing machine. If you got to come up with, if I was tasked to come up with $5,000 tomorrow, yeah, I can do it. I have the skill. I have the skill to do it. All I need is a setup. That's the hard part. I can do it, but I need the right setup. So I'll spend 6-7 hours finding the right setup. But once I have the setup, the rest is easy. The rest is fairly straightforward. It's not that difficult once you choose something. The difficult part is, what do I choose? So that's what applied analysis is for, is to get you to the point where you know what to choose. Once you know what to choose, applied asset management tells you, great, here's how you trade that thing. Now that you've decided what you want, and now that you've categorized it, what kind of momentum is this? Is it earnings momentum? Is it fundamental momentum? Is it behavioral momentum? Because you trade those in 3 different ways. What kind of volatility do we have? Do we trade this from the long side or the short side? Are we trading vol? Are we trying to get to zero delta? Or are we going to be delta biased? Right? Does it have a touch of momentum to it as well? We want to categorize what we're doing first so that we understand what we're doing, that we don't convince ourselves that we're doing something else. And we want to be very clear what our thesis is for doing this. Once we have our thesis, we know exactly what we're in the game for. We know exactly when we're going to leave. Well, not exactly, but we're not going to be drawn in with some other idea. We're not going to switch our trade from okay, this didn't work out, I'm going to hold on to it and maybe it will. That's hope. That's just a bad strategy. You should have had plan B before you even implemented plan A. Here's plan A. What if it doesn't work out? What's the worst case scenario? You think about the worst case scenario, that will tell you how to size your position. Once you size your position for worst case scenario, you know what leaves you very quickly? Emotion. Emotion leaves you very quickly. Now you're rational. Now it didn't work out, you go to plan B. You already know plan B is going to work out for you. That's the beautiful thing. You already know plan B is going to work out if plan A doesn't, and plan A can't hurt you. So we're going to do more of that. So it's going to be once a week, I'm going to give you an interesting trade setup on a new economy type stock. So if you looked at what I did on YouTube last week with Bloom Energy, I introduced Bloom Energy, and at the very end, I gave a trade setup that I would be comfortable with, which is selling the 80 put and the 60 put on Bloom Energy. And Bloom did fall today, and I did more. I'm very comfortable with that trade setup because it has enough volatility that if plan A doesn't work, plan B will. I would have a difficult time losing money on this trade. The only thing that would hurt me is if volatility dropped to 30% overnight. Well, now I would have difficulty with plan B. I'd have to think of something else, but I do have plan B. So I'll do one of those every Sunday. An interesting setup on something new. Sunday night, we're going to do a half hour to 45-minute Globex live. If you're in this game, you're in this game, right? Like I said, this is a serious business. You cannot be in the market part-time. You're either in or you're not. You're either in or you're not. So we're going to do Globex open 6 o'clock New York time, 6:30 to about 7:15. I'll do a live. This will all be on Discord. I'll do a live and we'll talk about, okay, here's our setup for the week. Here's what we're going to pay attention to. Here's who has earnings on what date. Here's what we're looking at. This is, how best assessment as to what we think is going on in the world, and that's it. Then every morning from 8:15 to 8:45, this will start in Q1. Half an hour of your time. Again, this is a serious business. If you're in this to win, this is the stuff we do every half hour, every morning for half an hour, you have to do every day. You have to get your mind into a systematic way of thinking about the market, systematically every time. So we run through a bunch of screens and we look for problems. No problems, good. What kind of day do we have? Do we have a green day or do we have a red day? If we have a red day, our portfolio will be red. That's not our fault. That's not our fault. The market is red. It's red. Hands off the keyboard. Hands off the keyboard. You never sell on a red day. Only rookies sell on a red day. You never sell on a red day, ever. You buy on a red day. You do that for 6 months. You follow that for 6 months, and you listen to me repeat it every day, and you fall into that process of how you look at things, how you decide what you're going to do. 6 months, I will change your life. You will look at the market in a very different way. It will not be a casino for you any longer. It will not be, will I make money today? It'll be, what will I make money on? Not will I make money. You'll recognize that it is not the direction of the market that is the most important thing that you have to worry about. It is the pre-work you do before you select something, and the direction will be meaningless. Well, I shouldn't say meaningless, but the direction will be secondary. We can think about the market as a chess game or as a card table. If it's a card table, yeah, you got to get the cards. You got to get lucky. If it's a chess game, we got strategy, and we're playing 3, 4, 5 moves ahead, right? So That's why I'm going to go with a lot more live events. AI can't do it. And I think a lot of people probably need a lot of help when it comes to this. That maybe you're tired of I made money, I lost money. I made money, I lost money. This is not working for me. I'm losing. And then I know that feeling of the hope, that little hope at the end diminishing and drifting away, that this won't be my life. This won't be. I know what that feels like. And I wish when I was there, when I first started 30 years ago, look at me, I'm dating myself, that there was somebody who would at least talk to me. 5 minutes of your time, please. But it was a different industry back then. No one would talk to you. In fact, they just call you names if you ask them questions. Nobody helped you out. And there was no online social media presence back then. The internet was just starting to explode. So you really had to know people. And even if you did know them, they had no time for you. They'd talk about this or that, but they'd never really help you. So hopefully this will help you on that. That's insane. No, it's awesome. Some CDO manager in a sushi bar. I don't understand that. But what do you think about the political environment in Japan? I don't know enough about it. I know that it's history for Japan, right? With the woman there. Again, I don't really know much about it. I do know that she is an advocate of a much more dovish central bank. And that is why the yen has taken a step down. Where are we on the yen right now? 152. That was one low 140s. And then when it became obvious it was going to be her, the yen just weakened because she does want a more dovish central bank. But so does Trump. Trump wants a more dovish central bank as well. And I think these countries with these big mountains of debt really have no choice. They can't afford the interest rate. Like, take somebody who has a lot of credit card debt. It's difficult for them to get out of that unless the interest rate were zero, right? You could help them by making the interest rate zero. It gives them a fighting chance. Well, that's where the U.S. is right now. They're way over their skis on the credit card balance, and you need zero interest to get that done. Who's going to hold T-bills if there's zero interest? Stablecoin. They have no choice but to hold treasuries. So if they have no choice but to hold treasuries, why pay them anything? Why give them anything, right? Think about that. Job hunting, but finding it hard to get noticed. You're not alone. Passing level 2 and just done BBA. What technical skills should I focus on to strengthen my profile for roles in equity, fixed income, derivatives? First of all, have an idea of, you're all over the place here. A role in equity, no fixed income, no derivatives. You're basically saying, look, I'll take anything. Have a focus of what you want to do and where you want to be, and get to know the sector before you step into a room. If you're going to be interviewing as a banking analyst, learn the banking sector. If you're going to be interviewing as a mining analyst, go in there speaking the language. That's what sets you apart. Go in there speaking the language. That's what sector studies is for. That's what it was meant to be. So use it. Let's see. How can a high school student think like an analyst without access to professional tools? I'm a junior and most resources require college access. What books or sites would you recommend? High school. I don't know that I'd say that you have to go through books. Oftentimes, what you find in books are models of a perfect world, useful models, but not reflections of reality. And if you're going to be thinking about a world of models and then be in the market, which is a messy place to be, that's not going to translate. Just look at macro the last couple of years. It has not worked. It has not worked at all. It is the most confusing market I've ever seen, where the signals that you're getting just don't work anymore, right? That's the reality that you have to live with. The models aren't helping at all, or I shouldn't say at all. They're not helping a lot. Now I know that everything will come back, will all mean revert to the model driven world. It will mean revert, but when? In the meantime, you just sit around making nothing, right? So I think you'd probably benefit more from less model driven and more practical driven. If you have the applied series, sit in on the live feeds each day and see what you pick up. Would love to do Costa Rica trip, middle of studying for L2 for May. Will you be running one for August, September? I think so. I think so. These things book up fairly quickly. I do have 2 weeks at the end of November, but only 6 spots, 3 and 3. I don't want to do full weeks. Just 3 and 3 are enough. 3 people in week 1, 3 people in week 2. So there's only 6 spots available. It's the last 2 weeks of November, which is the beginning of summer in Costa Rica. And it's just sunny, 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 sunny and green, sunny and green. It's nice. Yeah, I'll be doing some in August and September, but keep in mind, August, September in Costa Rica, that's Costa Rica's winter. It's the rainy season, so it does rain sometimes every day. This year's been good. This year, we got away with a lot of good sunny days where there was no rain, but there was 1 week where it just rained every day. What else we got here? Can see. You can see all that stuff. Good. What about binary events? I don't know what those tickers are, so I don't know how to answer that question. I think you mean the binary options where you bet on an event or you bet on an outcome. Why not just bet on a sports team? That's just gambling. I don't do any of that stuff. That's really just gambling. The only time you'd want to do any of that stuff is if there was, for some reason, a hedge in there, that if the event did happen, it's such a low probability event that if it did happen, it would screw everything up over here, but you'd win over here. US dollar, please. What do you think in the next 3 months? I sort of think the direction of the US dollar is downwards. Tomorrow, not a clue. Over the next 3 months, I would lean soft. Over the next 2 years, I'd say down. My conviction would be higher the longer out we go. By the end of Trump's term, probably lower than where we are today. In 3 months, who knows what's going to happen in 3 months, right? I see there's a financial modeling module in applied analysis series, but you say you will make that module free. Yeah, by Q1 it will be free. Not free in the sense that I'm going to make it just free. If you have level 1, level 2, or level 3 CFA on markmeldrum.com, you will just get access to the financial modeling module without having to add applied analysis, because I don't think the Excel skill is going to be important going forward. In financial modeling, I use Costco, and we do 5 years of Costco, but we do it all the way from the CFA to the Excel modeler. It's not just, here's all your assumptions, let's see how we do the spreadsheet. It's, let's develop our assumptions together. That's the CFA side. That's the skill you're still going to need. But the Excel skills, I don't think you're going to need those in 2-3 years. It will be, you'll be telling stories about how you used to use this thing called Excel. I mean, it would be like me saying to you, when I was in high school, true story, when I left the house, The phone was attached to the wall. That's it. You don't have a phone with you. You're walking down the street, you're going somewhere, and you don't know if anybody's calling you. You have no phone with you. You have nothing. You see how I'm talking about that? That's how you'll be talking about Excel in 3 years. When I was your age 3 years ago, we had this interface and we had this thing, this keyboard, and you'll try to describe it, and no one will understand you. And we had to actually put commands in cells, and people look at you like, really? How did you get by? It must have taken up so much time. People, well, what if somebody called you? Well, then you waited till you got home and you said, did anybody call? Right? I think Excel will be the phone on the wall. Do you think we will ever move away from a fiat currency system? No. 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 That requires some explanation of why I think no. Let's say that your economy is in a funk and unemployment is 12%, and you do not have control of your currency because it's no longer a fiat currency. How do you fix it? How do you fix it? Unless you have control of the currency itself, you're going to find some problems brutally hard to fix. Brutally hard to fix. So no, I don't think that any intelligent country should allow any competition with a fiat currency. Besides, what's wrong with your currency? Right? This idea that, inflation. Well, then what about your wage inflation? What about, if you think about the average wage in an economy, and hopefully I don't have a bunch of people here saying, oh, but what about minimum wage? Are you a minimum wage worker? Is that your plan for life, is to work at minimum wage? If it isn't, then ignore it. But if you look at how much the average salary bought in 1970, in 1 hour, how many loaves of bread could you buy? How many hours did you have to work to fill your tank with gas? Things like that. You have no deflation. You have no inflation, because if you get to today, you'll find that the average wage buys the same or more of the real quantity of stuff. So everyone likes to say, well, prices are going up. Yeah, but so are your wages. And if you, in your investment portfolio, can't earn the rate of inflation, you're doing something wrong. Equities have returned on average 10 to 11% for 70, 80 years. Just putting it in equities, 10 to 11%, inflation of 4%. What loss of purchasing power? What loss of purchasing power? And your wage is a function of your qualifications. The smarter you are, the better you are, the more experience you have, your wage goes up at a faster rate than the rate of inflation. No one points out that, prices are up. But you know what? So is the value of my house. So have my wages over the last 3 years. So is my investment portfolio. It's up by more than the price of this stuff is up. Of course, prices are going to go up, but so are your wages. So on a real basis, it's not a problem. So is fiat currency going to go away? No. Why? What's the problem with it? When it's mismanaged, there's a problem. But for the most part, in developed economies, it's poorly managed, but not mismanaged. So no, I don't think fiat is going to go away at all. My applied analysis purchase was made mostly because of the financial modeling section, but you mentioned will now be free. Is there any way I could transfer it to the applied asset management? Well, no. It's not as if I didn't deliver the value. I did deliver value. So no. It's not like I'm charging $5,000 for this, right? I would say no on that one. What are your thoughts on the circular revenue deals for AI companies? Meta and Microsoft are using cash to finance AI investment companies like Oracle and issuing a lot of debt. Yeah, Yeah. Um, but I have staff, and I pay them, and then they go to shop at a store of which I own shares in. Isn't that circular? The people who work at Costco shop at Costco. Isn't that circular? If I work at Ford and I buy a Ford vehicle because they give me Ford employee pricing, isn't that circular? Isn't there just a lot of circular stuff going on in the economy? Isn't the whole economy one just big circular economy? If I'm um, the best home builder in this region and you're the best driveway installer, you lay the best driveways, and I'm building a home for myself, I'm going to use you for my driveway. And let's say you're building a home for yourself, you're going to use me to build the home. Is that circular? Right? I mean, at the size that these guys play, you can't use a startup. You need cloud space. You can't go to a startup, Bob and Bill's cloud startup, and say, okay, we got a $10 billion deal for you. Right? There aren't that many big players out there, but when you're dealing with big numbers, you have to have big counterparties. Being that you have this dominance of big tech, they're bound to bump into each other. I mean, they're bound to bump into each other. One says, we need cloud space. Another one says, we need an AI model. Another one says, we need chips. Another one says, well, we need processing power and we need data space centers. Like 4 people in a room saying, we can get this done with just us in here. Yeah. So is it circular, or is it just what you expect to see in an economy? I will say it is a little much. Every day this company's announcing a deal with this company and this company's announcing a deal with that company. At some point, some of these companies cease to be good counterparties, right? I think if one link of this chain falls, my money was your money and your money was that money. And if this person falls and I don't have the money to give to you and you don't have the money to give to them and they don't have if one link falls, then it could be a big problem. Agency is as an agency. Oh, I know what agency is. Was on Monday close, tangible book value per share 828, hedge ratio down to 68. Good from 89. Good. Looks like they're positioning for rate cuts, as they should be. Not just rate cuts. It's not just the rate cuts that'll benefit them. If they're under hedging, you want to benefit the balance sheet side. They usually hedge out the interest rate component of their MBS, and then they lever up the spread. So if they're under hedging, it means that they're allowing more of their MBS to have interest rate exposure. So they're expecting the 10-year to come down. Good. That's exactly what it is going to do. Good. Reputation here. I have a good reputation in Saudi Arabia. Well, that's news to me. We have much appreciation of the work that you do. Just wanted to show level 1 subscriber. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I'm liked in Saudi Arabia. I think that's important. What's your opinion on shorting highly short interest stocks? Dangerous, very dangerous. That's why I couldn't understand Beyond Meat. It's under $1 going into the end of September, had 60%, 70% short interest on this thing. What are you hoping for? I mean, job done. It was $162 3 years ago. It's down to under $1. I mean, at some point, you're just kicking an old man when he's on the ground. I mean, what do you wait? How? Who's short at 68 cents? Who's short? What's the point? I don't understand that. Their own fault for jumping in on something like that. Like once it got to $4 and $3, job done, job done. You don't got to squeeze every drop out of the lemon. But when I heard the short interest, I looked at that chart and go, who's short at 68 cents? Like, well, what's the point here of being short at 68 cents? And man, it got ugly, right? Portfolio is like 20% sitting in cash. It's hard for me to buy anything as these valuations, but at the same time, the market keeps going up and I'm missing out. How do you fix this mental bias? Yeah, that is a problem. I think that you look at the market as two directions. Either, I buy something that goes up or it either goes down. And there are many different ways to look at the market as opposed to just a straight up and down. There are so many things that you can do as opposed to a straight up and down. I think that your toolbox is just limited. Happened to me for sure. GameStop 2020. Oh, this is people talking about when they blew up. Yeah. Nice to see a live stream. Nervously waiting for L3 results tomorrow. Yes, L3 results tomorrow. Nicola blew me up back in 2020. Yeah. What's your view on oil? I think we got lots of it. There's lots of it. And oil has become, if you look at the rig count, Baker Hughes rig count, you'll see the rig count over the years has been coming down, but oil has been going up. The oil production has been going up. Is because from one particular rig, you no longer have to drill one hole, but you can drill and then you go vertical. And then you could drill another one from the same hole and go vertical that way and drill another one and go. One pad can now do 30 runs with the technology that's available for drilling now. So you don't need all these drilling rigs. From one rig, you can have you can drill in 20 different directions, all from one rig. So the amount of money spent on exploring for new wells isn't necessary. When you hit a well, your primary hit, just with the natural pressure, oil will start coming up, but only about 10 to 15% of the reservoir will empty out. That used to be the end of it. And then you drill a whole bunch of sites in around it. It's called infill drilling, where you'd go out to the edge of the field and you'd pump water in to push the pressure to get the oil up. You might get to about 40% recovery. You're still leaving 60% of the oil in the ground. But with fracturing, horizontal drilling, steam-assisted gravity drainage, with CO2, pumping CO2 in front of the oil to push the oil towards a reservoir, you can get way more than 50% recovery from any one particular well. So the amount of oil coming out of the ground is exploding, even though you have less and less capital equipment being used to get that done. There's plenty of oil. It is not capital constrained in the sense that it's so expensive to keep drilling all these holes. We need a price up here to keep drilling all these holes. As you have one rig that can now drill in 15 different directions, your break-even barrel of oil equivalent price just keeps dropping. So I think eventually you'll see sub 50 oil. There's lots of oil in the world. There is no shortage of oil. So unless you have some discipline from the drillers, you will keep seeing lower oil prices. Thoughts on 40% decline in FDS? I don't follow FactSet, so I don't really have a thought on that. Will you have a live schedule? I do on Discord. I already put the first one up. We'll start with Sundays, every Sunday for half an hour, 45 minutes on 6:30 Sunday night when Globex opens. We will do a debriefing. And then the week after, that very week, we'll start with Tuesday. We'll start once a week because I really only wanted to start this in Q1. But some people were saying, start it sooner if you can. So we'll start with a Tuesday morning debriefing of what we're doing that Tuesday. And then the week after, I'll go 2 days. And then the week after, I'll move it to 3 to 4 to 5. And then the schedule will be up, and it'll be up every day at the same time. I'm in front of this computer from 7 to 10 every day. This is a serious game for me. And these are the most critical hours, are the morning hours, because you have to be aware of what you're doing that day. Am I glued to the screen today, or do I pretty much know what's going on and I can leave? Red days, big red days, I go away. I come back at 3:30 and I go shopping. But we'll do that. When you say you could make 5K tomorrow, what size of an account? It doesn't matter the size of my account. It would matter how much capital I apply to make the 5,000. The sleeve I play with is a little over 15 million. That's the one that I control myself. I use nowhere near that capital. Somebody said they're sitting on 20% cash. I'm sitting on 60% cash. But it would be a matter of not how big my account is, but how much capital I use to get that done. And I just throw out 5 as an example. 5's easy to make, but 5 doesn't move the dial. It doesn't move the needle. If all I'm making is 5 a day, my return, given the capital base, would be pathetic. So it doesn't move the needle, but I have the ability to do it. What's plan B for Bloom Energy? Its volatility is so high. Even if it just price out the straddle is 33%. Its volatility is so high. Where is Bloom Energy right now? Let me just give you an example. Which screen do I have it on? Let me move this closer to here so we can see it. BE is a 92.50. So let me find the option chain for BE, 92.50. Now I'm in no trouble on this one at all, but let's say that you bought it for $110 and it's 92.50 right now. My first comment to you is, why did you wait so long? If you are going to be part of the morning sessions, you will learn that you never would have waited that long. You never would have waited that long. It would have triggered plan B well before it dropped 1750 on you. It would have triggered plan B well before that point. So oftentimes people get in trouble because of inaction. And then you look at it, you say, well, how can you save it? Well, you can't now. All we can do is minimize the loss right now and stop the bleeding because you waited too long. But as long as you don't wait too long, you'll be okay. But look at its IV, 138%. If you can't work your way out of trouble with that kind of IV. So let me just pop over to, let me move this over a little bit more so I don't have to lean so much. And we're at 92.50. Let's say you think, I think it's probably going to drop to $60, which it could. I mean, it could drop to $60. I think it'll be well supported before it gets there. Keep in mind, we have a big risk event next week, right? We have the 28th. You have earnings. That is a big risk event. However, they just got a $5 billion deal from Brookfield, so I think their guidance is going to be fairly good. In the end, is there risk in this trade? Yeah, there's risk. No risk, no return. But let's say we go out to November. And let's look at the $60 calls. $37. Your goal when you're in trouble is to move your delta towards zero. That does not mean sell. It just means move your delta towards zero. Period. So you might have a rule of, well, if I'm down, if the price is down 10%. I will start risk management, which means move my delta towards zero. And how many shares should you have? Well, how bad will 10% hurt? If you bought it for 110 and it drops to 10, you've lost $10 per share. What would hurt? Is 2% of your portfolio painful? To lose 2% and only 2% on any one stock, You think, well, not really. Well, you have a $10,000 portfolio. 2% is $200. You don't want to lose any more than $200 on this thing. And if it can drop $10, if you think that it can drop $10 before you step in, how many shares can you buy? You can only buy 20. There's your position size, right? And if you're buying less than 100 at 20, what you would do is you would simply just exit at 20. Say you follow your rule. The most you can lose is what you agreed to lose. I don't do anything unless it's at least in quantities of 100. But let's say that I bought it at 100 and it's now at 92.50, and I've changed my mind on this, and I say, well, I really want to get out of this thing. If we look at the $70 calls, that has a delta of 0.834. You have 100 shares, that's a delta of 100. You sell a deep in the money call, you lower your delta to 0.17, and you generate roughly about $30 in premium for this. You have just repriced your shares to $70. If it turns around and goes up, it gets called away from you, you lose $0. If it continues to drop, your new price is 70, not 100. And then the idea of rolling forward and rolling up or rolling down. You can, because vol is so high, there's so many ways to work your way out of trouble on this one. So many ways to work your way out of trouble. So I have the 80 to 60, which gives me about 100 shares per combo. The 80 is got a delta of 0.265. The 60's got a delta of 0.091. So that every set is 35 shares. So if you do 10 sets, it's the equivalent of being long 350 shares. It gives me a certain delta. If it's moving in a way that I don't like, the plan is super simple. Move your delta towards 0, which means I find another option that will move my delta towards 0, period. Move my delta towards 0. It's that simple. Which one and how you do it is a little bit more complex. There you need, much like chess, there's unlimited moves you can make. With options, there's unlimited moves you can make. I gave you a very simple one just now, really simple. There are other ones that can get there are setups where you can start by saying, you know what? I don't care about the direction of this thing. I care about the 138%. Give me some of that. Where you set up your trade such that you have almost no delta or gamma to begin with, but you have vega and theta. And then you just wait. And then you have a range, a rebalancing rate. I don't want to get into all the trade setups now, but give me 6 months. Give me 6 months of your time, half an hour every day for 6 months. I will change the way you look at things. If you had a small account, you just use smaller positions. That's all. We'll take care of that. Oh, there's a lot of questions here. Let me see if I can speed up. Don't really need any kind of market call to just open a straddle in the paper account and start managing. Until it doesn't work, sure. How do we join the Discord? The live sessions are for applied level subscribers only. That's yeah. Sized small in live, but trade management. I don't know what that means. What's your opinion that the forward PE on the S&P at 22 historically that has led to low returns? True, well, because where are you going to go from 22, right? I'm just going to scroll all the way to the bottom and work my way up on the questions because it is 10 o'clock. Who will be able to watch the 30-minute daily lives? Anybody who has applied level, whether it's applied analysis or applied asset management, or you have A3, you have the full applied level. Anybody who has that. Where will the sessions be held? Discord. There is a separate channel that I have already added to Discord. Let me find my Discord here, and it's under. Let's scroll up here. So under voice channels, there's main stage, open voice, market outlook, and then market stage. It will be in the market stage channel. How do I join? How do I join your How to Lose 40% in 1 month course? I don't know what that means. Never get against Elon or the price of Tesla. It's a stupid statement. The guy thought Tesla was overvalued and the price shit up after he said that too. He's laughably uninformed. Well, Ned, you don't really want to be here, I think. So let's just remove you altogether. Ned doesn't really want to be here. So I'll make it easy for you. There you go, Ned. You talk about not differing. I don't know what that means, but what if you were working all the time? I gave it my all and I fell short. I don't have a choice. I'm level 2. I don't know what you mean by not differing. I don't know. Deferring. You talked about not deferring. Well, I don't know that I talked about not deferring. I think CFAI has this idea that you should not defer. Those who defer do poorly. I don't think that those who defer, I don't think the act of deferring means you'll do poorly. I think those who choose to defer are unwilling to put in what's the time that's needed now, and so they defer, and nothing will change. They'll think they'll have bought themselves some time, and they'll think, oh, I bought myself some time, and you will fall into the same trap that you were in before. So it is a characteristic of those who defer that will simply just fall into the trap of thinking I've got all this time now. So it's okay to defer if life happens to you. Life will happen. So go ahead and defer if that's what you need. If you're facing what would seem to be imminent failure, then go ahead and defer. But don't convince yourself that you have the luxury of time. You don't. You bought yourself some time. Use the time that you bought. Right? I have messaged another school for CFA and asked them, and they said straight up, told me if you are retail traders, you don't need CFA. Yes and no. You don't need the 3 letters behind your name, but you need the knowledge that is in the pages. So it's not as if you said to me, I'm going to work out by myself. Do I need to be a certified fitness instructor to do it? No, you don't. That does not mean you can say, great, I don't need to know anything about fitness because I'm not going to be an instructor. That's not what it's saying. It's not saying, oh, you could just throw out all the knowledge. You don't need the knowledge. If you're just going to be a retail trader, you don't need the 3 letters, but you certainly need the knowledge. So you don't have to sit for the exams. You certainly need the knowledge, right? Let's see. I see somebody was putting Ned in their place. Oh. Ned was an angry person, I think. Ned was probably not doing very well. Thoughts on the shift in Canadian industrials getting pushed back to the U.S., namely automotive industry? Seems like a snowball of factories closing and going back to U.S. Yeah, GM just announced the van factory in Ingersoll, the EV factory in Ingersoll, 300 jobs. I think Stellantis, which has a big footprint in Windsor, by the way, is investing primarily in the US at this point. The Canadian market produces more vehicles than what it needs because we've always been able to just send them to the US. The US market has found that to be desirable primarily because of healthcare. There's a reason why Ontario has such a big manufacturing sector is because healthcare is free. Whereas in the US, if you provide healthcare for each union worker, that could be $20,000, $25,000 a year that you have to pay. That you don't have to pay that in Ontario. So Ontario union workers are subsidized by the taxpayer, but not in the US. It's more expensive in the US. That's why it was beneficial for the US to put production in Ontario. And I think the US auto companies, if there was no problem with it, would want to put more jobs in Ontario because it is cheaper per hour with Canadian union labor than it is with American union labor. But there are limitations on how much can be imported from Canada into the US. Even before Trump, there were limitations on that. Now the limitations are even more stringent. So yeah, it costs more to have it made in the US, but if I set up a plant, this is the thinking with Stellantis, I think, is if I set up a plant in the US, there is nothing saying that I have to use union labor. I can automate the shit out of this plant and I can get rid of labor that otherwise I couldn't get rid of because of union contracts. I said before, if you get manufacturing jobs back to the US, you won't be bringing manufacturing jobs back. You will just be using robots to get it done. The reason China got all the jobs is because Chinese labor was cheaper than automation. However, if China wasn't part of the World Trade Center, automation was cheaper than the union worker. That those jobs would have been lost anyways. They would have just been lost to robots. So you can bring manufacturing back to the US, but there are no jobs. There will not be manufacturing jobs. There will be robots. There'll be welding robots. There'll be painting robots. There'll be installation robots. There'll be screwdriver robots. That'll all be automated. So Stellantis does have the ability now to even lower their union footprint by doing their investment in the US. CFA level 3 candidate here. I'm a visual learner. Why is your prep package better than Kaplan Masterclass? Well, I don't know anything about Kaplan Masterclass, so I can't speak to that. Everything that we have is video. And if you've seen any of my videos, I draw. If you're a visual learner, I don't know that you'll get more visual than what I do. My classes are not me sitting in front of a screen like this talking to you. It's written. I have a screen. I have my tablet right down in front of me, and I draw on a screen. I draw pictures, and I narrate as I do it. I work in FP&A and would love to explore other industries. How would you recommend I break in? Well, you just pick an industry. What sub-industry do you want to explore? And then you go to infographics or you go to sector studies and you see what's there. I cover quite a lot of the industries. There's a lot of stuff there. Start there. I agree. Excel skills are going away. What about Python skills? Python's a little bit different. With Excel, I can tell if a model works or not. With software, I kind of have to know the code to be able to assess the code, to be able to assess whether there's a leak in the code, and to be able to stress test it. How am I going to test that code once it's done unless I know what I'm looking for and what I'm doing. So I think you still have to have some skill set in that. Let's scroll down to the bottom and work our way up. I don't think automation can completely replace workers. Well, okay, that's excessive language, right? Completely. Yeah, I'll agree with that. It would definitely crush the power unions have. Yep. But I doubt reshoring will happen at a significant level. I think if reshoring does happen, it will happen on the on an automation side. Thoughts on Carvana? Don't have any thoughts. I work in auto lending, and delinquencies are way too high in Canada. Do you think used car market will be hammered? I have heard some numbers in there about how high the delinquency rate has gotten. Is that the case in Canada as well? Delinquencies elevated in Canada? I could see them being elevated in the US, because if you kick out a whole bunch of people, those people had cars, those cars had loans. Well, either they drove them across the border and they're just gone, or the people making the payments are now gone, right? $3,000 in Brampton. Yeah. Is there anything wrong with buying level 1 2025 versus 2026? Well, when are you going to write in 2025? It's pretty much over, unless you're going to sit for November. So I would be buying 2026. I mean, if you're writing in 2026, you're going to want to buy for 2026. Do you think Musk will take his focus away from Tesla? Since 8.5 trillion is an unattainable market cap for an already overvalued company, will he focus more on SpaceX? No, things are hard to walk away from. They're very hard to walk away from unless it's a lost cause. Tesla has challenges. They now have to compete in a much more crowded market than they had before. Everything doesn't belong to them anymore. I don't know. I don't think that he's going to spend less time with it. The big question is what he's working on. These are, I'm not going to call them moonshots, but they're very tough markets to get and to do. Self-driving, full self-driving is not going to happen with technology in the car. It's going to happen with technology in the infrastructure. So if I were looking for the next growth market, I would be looking for LiDAR companies that install LiDAR in the infrastructure, because once you have that, then you can talk to every car. Once you have that, you know exactly how many cars are on the road. You can see everything. Getting it done with camera in a way that you're not talking to anything else, I think, is a big challenge. That one company will never hit level 5, ever hit level 5. But smart infrastructure combined with smart cars, every car will be level 5. Either no car is level 5 or they're all level 5. There will not be one single car at level 5. There won't. For humanoid robots, I don't know why you need them humanoid. The dexterity part is going to be the difficult part. That's going to be the difficult part in getting that done. But why couldn't you have robotic companions that don't have to be human-like? With past robots, there have been robotic friends before, but they'd have a program within them, and once you run through their pattern program, they get boring because you've been through all the patterns. But if they're LLM driven, they have the real potential of continuing to grow with you, and of having conversations and being surprising. Why must they be humanoid? I don't get that. That's the part I don't understand, and that's what I think is a fool's game, to try to get these things to be human, to be just as dexterous as humans. I don't know. The word is escaping me. And I think that is no one's going to spend $30,000 on something that is 10% capable, that takes 8 minutes to put away one cup. It's just not going to happen. Like, you need it to be a lot more fluid than what it is right now, and I think that is years away, if ever. So I think the stuff that Tesla's working on, that's most of the valuation of Tesla. And I think it's just a matter of time before, I keep saying a matter of time. I made this example last night on the feed. Is if you go back to the video I did, The Ice Age is Far From Over, I made a prediction about Tesla. I'm being right. I made a prediction about GM, and I've been right on the fundamentals. Fundamentally, I have been right on Tesla. I said it doesn't get to keep these 30-point margins, and it didn't. I said its growth rate would slow to 10% a year within 2 or 3 years, and it actually turned negative. So if anything, I wasn't aggressive enough on how quickly the fundamentals would deteriorate for Tesla. And I kept saying GM is one of the best car companies out there. The most profitable company per car is GM, more profitable than Tesla per vehicle, with twice the free cash flow. Tesla could have bought GM for $50 billion 2 or 3 years ago, and it didn't. And if it did, it would have had a better looking truck. It would have had Corvette. It would have had Cadillac. It would have had all of these great brands. And it wouldn't be trying to sell the same 2 models and an ugly fucking truck. I was right on all the fundamentals, but I was absolutely wrong on the price. I thought the market would reward GM for better fundamentals, and it didn't. It had to buy back $16 billion of its own stock. Only in its last earnings has it gotten the respect it deserves. $67. I think it's an easy $80 stock. Easy $80, if not $100. So the market is finally showing GM some respect. I thought for sure the price of Tesla would catch up with its deteriorating fundamentals, and it hasn't. I thought GM's price would catch up with its improving fundamentals, and it never did. Not until it stepped in to buy back its own shares. I was right on the fundamentals of both companies. I was right when I said the Ice Age will be with us for a very long time. In that video, I said all of these mandates, no more internal combustion by 2030, 2035, you're going to see those disappear. What are we seeing? Disappearing. They're all disappearing. Go back and watch that video. I was very correct on most of those things, except I believe that the market would start to price these things out to reflect the fundamentals, and it has not. It just keeps giving Tesla the benefit of the doubt, and it just keeps giving GM shit. Meanwhile, GM is by far the superior company, to Tesla. And it doesn't get the respect it deserves. So I think Tesla's got to figure out what business it's in. I think that's the problem there. And where are they after hours? They're not doing that well. 426. Yeah, they were under 420, 426. I'm playing the volatility from the short side, so I don't really care if it goes up or it goes down. I just care that it gives me volatility, and I think it will. Is it worth this? Not one bit. I think it's $40 stock masquerading as a $400 stock. I think it's a $40 stock, but it is a cult. And you have to break that cult first. I don't know what breaks that cult, but it is a cult. The truck has been disappointing, and it doesn't get punished for that. The self-driving vehicle is a dream that's been promised for 15 years. No, not 15, 11 years, 12 years. And what did he say tonight? All new vehicles are coming with the autonomous software already included. For what? Because it's just around the corner. He's very good at that, just around the corner. So it's a great stock to make money on the volatility. It's not a great stock to play directionally, though. People are barely making payments on their vehicles. But what does that mean in terms of numbers? When I hear something like people are barely making payments, those are extreme statements that, like it's like saying, the consumer's having trouble. Nobody's buying houses anymore. Nobody? Are you sure? Because last I saw it was 4.2 million houses a year that are being sold. Nobody's buying houses. Are you sure about that? So, when we say people are barely making payments, you want to try to be as precise as possible when you make statements like that. So a better way of saying it is historical 90-day delinquencies are 3.2%, but they're running 7.5 right now. Oh, but when statements like people are barely making payments, it doesn't reflect well on the rigor of the statement that you're making. Opinion on Goldman Sachs. I think as far as investment banks, they're one of the best on the street. I don't know what my deep opinion is on it, but I don't know that I'd be afraid of owning it. Do you think there is any valuable to be gained from reading older CFA books, the ones from around Great Recession? Sure. The most of the knowledge in that book it doesn't go away. Quant has been quant for 50 years. Economics has been economics for 20, 30, 40 years. Bond valuation is, I don't know, 30, 40 years. You go back, find a 30-year-old textbook, it have the same stuff. Just because it's 20, 30, 40, 50 years old doesn't mean you can't know it. Physics is 100 years old, and we still got to know that, right? So I don't know that I would say, 2020. If you're studying for an exam, don't use 2020. Use the current books. If you just want the knowledge, 2020 is good. 2020 is good. Very hesitant on buying any stock without a buyback program. These markets are delusional. If they don't offer a bid, the company must. Companies are limited to how much they can buy back, right? And they're not in charge of the buyback. They give it to an agent to do the buybacks, and they can only participate up to 25% of the average daily volume in any one given day. And I think they can't buy before 10. They have to stop buying at 3:30 because they can't manipulate the ends of the market. They can't manipulate the open or the close with all their volume. They can't move the price. So they have to participate during the course of the day. So while they do offer some buying support, they don't blatantly go and push the price up. GM doesn't have Elon. Thank God. Right? Thank God. I personally am very hesitant that rent levels are falling. I'm an accountant. How can I switch to finance? Well, first step is you make the decision. An accountant in finance actually is sort of a benefit, because when you're looking at financial statements, the one thing that you have that sometimes I don't is the transaction that created the account. Sometimes I look at accounts and I think, okay, well, what transaction created that account? What would be the sets of transactions to create that? I'd have a better understanding, and I don't have the accounting for it. So, but you simply just decide that that's the path you want to be on, and off you go. Go look at auto loan delinquents among banks, not among the top 100. It's all-time highs, higher than 2008. Do you know what they are? My usual answer when somebody says that to me, go look at this, is I then ask, well, do you know what they are? And if the answer is no, it's like, well, then you don't really know, do you? You don't really care, because if you did, you would know. You wouldn't be telling me to go do the homework. You would have already done the homework, and you said in 2008 delinquency was this much, and now it's this much, as reported by this bank and this bank and this bank. You'd be on top of it. You'd have the numbers. Now, I'm not trying to be difficult with you. I'm just telling you what table stakes would be in a serious conversation. Is you can't come into if you were doing a on a trading floor, you have to do your pitches in the morning. If you're standing in front of your MD and you're saying, well, go take a look at the default rates, you'll see what I mean. Me? Go look at it. You got to come heavy with that stuff. So to make your case, you should be nothing but the data, as opposed to people are barely making their payments. Go take a look at what they're doing over there. I hope your next line is, no one's ever seen anything like this before. You go take a look at what they're doing over there. No one's ever seen anything like this before. No one ever thought this was possible, but I got it done. You say you want Tesla to give you volatility, but if you're selling options, you're probably short vol. No. Well, yeah, I'm short vol. But that's the whole idea of trading vol, is you want vol. I'm okay with it. Vol is wrapped up in theta. So it's the passage of time. The higher the vol, the higher the higher the time value component of that option. So if you can put together a structured product that has 0 delta, 0 gamma, all you're going to have is theta and vega. Vega's wrapped up in theta. As each day goes by, theta bleeds away. At the end, it's worth 0, both vega and theta. I don't need vega to drop when I have theta. Now, one thing I know for sure is tomorrow will come. Unless I've been doing this wrong, tomorrow will happen. One day will pass. This I know for sure. And vega is wrapped up in the theta. I don't know how you would get theta neutral unless you're long and short, in which case I would say, but why would you want to do that? Now you have a synthetic. Now you have either positive or you're giving up theta for delta. So I don't need volatility to come down. If it comes down, bonus. If it doesn't and one day passes, well, it's one day less. What do I care? Right? And when we get close to the end, you roll. You roll and you find different ones. And as long as you keep delta hedging, well, it wouldn't even say delta hedging. There's a wide range. When you have big fat time value, there's a wide range that delta can move within where you don't have to do a damn thing. And Tesla's still within that range where I don't have to do a damn thing. In fact, I don't have my other system open. I could tell you exactly. Actually, I don't have it around me either. Oh, hang on. Maybe I have it here. I could tell you exactly what my delta on that trade is. That's the right one. Where are we on this one? Okay, this is the one I'm looking for. Where's my delta on this one? 6.5. My delta is 4 shares. It's the equivalent of being 3, 5. Hang on. Where's my calculator? I'll tell you exactly what I have on this one. 0.619. 9.5 shares. I have the equivalent of being long 9.5 shares, but my theta on this one is 218 a day. That's going to happen no matter what. My delta is almost 0. So no matter what this earnings were tonight, just by this time tomorrow, I will have made $218 on this trade, no matter what. No matter what. And then the next day, I'll make 218. And Friday, going into the weekend, I'll make 654. 218 a day. So what does it matter? The lower the IV, the lower the time value would be, because the theta catches everything that's time value, and vega is part of the time value. It inflates the time value. So theta gives me everything. So I don't need vega to drop. An accounting background will probably make you an even stronger candidate for a finance career. And that's true. I too am a CPA doing level 2 now. Want to say thank you. You are the GOAT, and all your lectures are engaging. Well, thank you. Do you have any tips for networking in the industry for job opportunities? What would catch your attention if a stranger reached out to you? Let's say somebody wanted to get my attention, sent me an email saying, I'm looking at this stock, and it gave me the thesis and it gave me the trade, and I watched it and I thought, wow, that's not bad. Next week I get another email with the same thing, and I watch it and I think, okay, well, this guy knows how to pick. I'm going to want to have a conversation with this person, right? I mean, that's how to get anybody's attention is you show that you have the ability to execute. You show that you have the ability to perform. Capri is down 20% down, still a long-term buy, or plain monthly cover calls. I don't sell any cover calls on this one. I own it. I'm long. It is a safe haven. When the S&P, I notice, is down more than 50 points, the index, that is down 50, 60 points, Capri always gets a bid. And then when you have green days, it's like, I don't want this. And I think there's just too much money chasing too much momentum. And you saw a lot of it come out of quantum, come out of rare earth, and come out of nuclear stocks in the last week. I mean, it deflated fast. The week before, it just ran up. And it's like, where are you guys going? I'm watching some of these quantum stocks run up, and I'm thinking, where are you going? Like, where are you going? You're some of you don't even have revenue. Same with these rare earth companies. Pre-commercialization, you haven't even built your mine, and you know how expensive it is to build a mine, and you haven't even built one yet. You just think you have a plot of land which has a concentration high enough to mine. Good luck getting the billions of dollars to build the mine. Where are you going? And so a lot of that has come out, and the thinking behind consumer staples and apartment REITs is, what do I need these safe assets for when everything else is ripping? What do I need these for? So in most portfolios, they are capital constrained, meaning they don't have unlimited capital. They sell some things to get into other things. That if the market is ripping ahead, get rid of these apartment REITs, which really aren't going anywhere, and let's get into something that's going. That can explain a lot of the malaise in apartment REITs. But I like them. It's a nice anchor to the portfolio. It has a decent enough income yield. I'm happy with it, and I don't need the cash. So I'm good with it. Cap REIT and the Canadian apartment REITs have treated me well for many, many, many years. And yes, there are periods of 2, 3, 4 quarters where, but they always perform. They've always treated me well. I'm willing to wait. Let's see. I was right in the Tesla's fundamentals. I was just wrong on the price. If you're wrong on the price, then you're just wrong. That's what I said. You don't get to pretend you were right. I didn't. You're clearly not listening to me, Sunshine. I said, go back and watch that video on the fundamentals. I was right. I projected what I thought would happen fundamentally to their margins, to their sales, and I was right. But I was wrong on the price. I was wrong on the market's reaction to it. I plainly said it, so I don't know what you're what point you're trying to make. I clearly said it. So, unless you're the guy I just got rid of under a new name, I don't know. Yes, but he won't let you post in his Discord. You actually have to have credentials to post. Yes, you did pretend you were right. You're copying. All right. Yeah, there's no reason for you to be here either. I mean, if you don't like me, just leave. I mean, there's no reason to be here. What's the point? Honestly, seriously, what is the point? If you've got nothing but shit to throw at me, fine. But you don't have to be here. If you disagree with me and you don't like me, piss off. You don't have to be here. That's called freedom. Uh, I tell you, sometimes you bring out the worst in me. All right, we'll finish up here. Frisky is Ned. Yeah, okay. Well, then Ned, get a life, man. Like, get a life. Either get a life or open up your ears and listen to what I said. As opposed to whatever it is you think you're doing. All right, I think we're almost done. Yeah, we're at the end. When you're a fraudulent deal getting called out, the guy's back. Sunshine, here's what I'm willing to do. I will put my skill up against your skill up any day of the week. Any day of the week, I'll put my skill up against your skill. Period. Winner take all. Any day of the week. Let's see how tough you are now. All right. Okay. All right. I think we're done. That's it. It is 10:41, and I was really only going to do this for about half an hour. It's been 2 hours. The presentation I had at the beginning did not work out, so I'm going to have to do a video on that. I didn't want to do a linear video, but I guess I'm going to have to. All right. Ciao, guys. See you later.